Hey folks, welcome to Pawpaw John's Homestead channel. Today I'm in the kitchen. I'm going to be doing some fig preserves. I had a bunch of figs in the freezer that I pulled out. It's roughly a gallon. I'm going to go ahead and cook these down. I want to show you the process and what I'm doing here. I'm going to go ahead and run these over some water and go ahead and wash them off again, but I'd like to show you something if I can get it out. On the figs, the stem right here, you need to cut it off. When you're preparing them, make sure all your stems are gone, and we'll put them in the pot, cover them up with some sugar, and go ahead and get these on the cook. It's going to take about 2.5 hours to cook these, and I'll just show you the process I'm going through. And oh, one more thing I wanted to share with you. Did you know a fig is not actually a fruit? A fig is an inverted bloom. In the end of your fig, there's a hole. There's a hole in the bottom of it. Well, it's opened up. The outside of the fig is just a sac that holds a whole cluster of blooms. And there's roughly 900 species of these. I was reading up a little bit of this before I started. There's roughly 900 species of figs, and there's that many more species of wasps that have a symbiotic relationship with these figs. A lot of people say, I don't want to eat a fig because it's got bugs in it. Well, actually what happens is, the literature I read is that the wasp, the female wasp, and she gets ready to lay her eggs, she crawls in the end of the fig. And she'll crawl in the end of the fig, and as she's crawling in, what happens is her antenna gets knocked off, and her wings get pulled off, and she goes in and she can't get back out because the hole is tight. It's so tight that it does all this damage to the insect. She crawls in, lays her eggs, and what happens is they'll hatch out, and they'll come out of the fig, and they'll fly off. And the little wasp, she's stuck in there, she dies, and she's actually absorbed. So by the time this is right and you get it to where you're going to eat it, most species, that wasp is gone. These turkey figs, these are brown turkey figs, and I've never had a problem. I've never found an insect in here, and the crunchy that's in there is actually just the blooms. It's not insects, folks. So if that's what's holding you back from eating figs, shouldn't worry about it. But anyway, I'm gonna go ahead, rinse these off, and go ahead and get started. So there's your bloom end, your stem. There's your stem, and you want to cut those off. Don't have to cut much more than that. Sometimes, most of these, I just pull this end, this hard end off, and it pops off. That's all you really need. See on this one here, see this end here? You hold it and pull it, it pops off. So last night, I got all my ready, all but these. I had a camera malfunction, and I wasn't able to get that part of the process for you. But I put 4 quarts in here, and then I put 2 quarts of sugar. And that's all I put in this pot. And what that does is, you let it sit overnight, it'll pull the moisture out of the figs. You won't have to add as much water to it. You can add a little bit more water if you wanted to get thinner as you cook. And you can see the syrup it's already started making here. So I'll probably add a little bit to this because it's so thick, and I've got some in the bottom. But now these have to cook 2 hours, and you don't want the syrup to get so thick you can't get them out of the pot. So we'll probably add a little bit of water. Going to go ahead and add these other figs here. So I'm going to use the doughs. Like I said, I want to add just a little bit of water. It's not that thin. Some folks use the method of the sugar is half of your fruit and then your water is half of your sugar. I know some people use it. I had a great aunt that she made the best fig preserves, but I never took the time to learn how to do exactly how she did. So we're going to take this and add some water. I use 4 quarts of figs, 2 quarts of sugar, and add about 1/4 of water to it. Actually, I'm going to add 2 cups and see where we're at. There we go. Probably as thick as I want, or as thin as I want. You can get them on the stove and get them up to a boil. Turn it down to a simmer, and we're gonna let it simmer for about 1.5 hours. Check it. One more thing I'd like to add to this. We want to use some lemon. It doesn't matter what brand. You find some lemon juice and you can use it, or you can take a full lemon of this amount. You can take a full lemon, slice it thin, take the seeds out, put the slices in, and use it that way. And probably about 2 tablespoons. What this does is help hold the color with these figs, so that after they're cooked, they have a good color to them. Some people don't use it. The last batch I made actually held color a little longer than traditional. Without it, it's not a necessity, it's just a preference. You want to make sure that you keep a close eye on this until you get it down to where it's on the simmer. You don't want to scorch the figs to the bottom of the pan. They will burn on high heat with the amount of sugar that's in here. And I am not using pectin in this. This will get plenty thick just by itself. There we go. We're at a good boil. I'm gonna reach over and turn this heat down. Just need it to where it's bubbling a little bit there. Just want to simmer it. This is gonna cook for a long time. Just keep stuff out and keep stuff in. I'm using this screen to lay over top. What you're doing is you're reducing this down to a thicker syrup. You don't need the lid on it. So it's been about 1.5 hours in. It's boiling down nicely. Syrup is not quite as thick as it needs to be. You may wind up having to cook it a little bit longer, but they look real good. So what I'm going to do is I've got 45 more minutes left on this. So I'm going to go ahead and heat my water up and put my lids in and put the jars inside the oven and go ahead and sterilize them and get ready. So that's where we're at. My figs are just about cooked completely down. It's frothing on top. The syrup has gotten thick. So what I'm going to do now is, it's been 2 hours. I already have my water heating up here. I am going to use a hot bath for these, simply because they're going to be on the shelf for a little while. The jars are very hot coming out of the oven. I used just put them on a cookie sheet, set them in there on 250 degrees. They've been in there for about 30-45 minutes. Kill any bacteria that's on the jars. Just make sure your jars are clean before you do this. You can wash them and then set them on your cookie sheet to sterilize them. Those are sterilized and ready to go. They're not touching each other. Got all my tools laid out and ready to go. And now we're ready to can our figs. Put my figs in here first. Once you get these canned, when you open them, you set them in the refrigerator, and they'll last 2 to 3 weeks. They'll be fairly safe to eat. It's one reason I'm putting them in small jars. If you're not going to be eating many at a time, you may want to consider doing that. Okay. So now, ready for the liquid. Just using a butter knife here to settle air bubbles. You don't want to put too much in here. Just want to make sure to clean the rims off so that your lids will seal. And be careful because they're hot. Doing it this way, you can put the lids on, turn them upside down, let them sit for about 10 minutes, and they'll hold up fairly well. But if you want to put them in the pantry and get them to last and stay safe, it's best to go ahead and do a water bath. 10 minutes will do it, and then they need to sit and cool overnight. So your bands, put your bands on here, screw them down, just finger tight. We'll take these, put them in a water bath. They need to be submerged under the water 1 to 2 inches. Doing this will ensure you don't have anything growing inside of your bottle or inside of your jar, making you sick. I use a set of these. So that's pretty much it. All I have to do is pull those off in about 10 minutes. It's something to keep in mind when you're doing a hot water bath. When you cover them, they need to be covered 1 to 2 inches. And the time doesn't start until the water is boiling. And that's when you start your time. So bringing that back up to a boil now. We give it 10 minutes, pull them. Not sure if you can see that. That's what they look like when they're done. These make great gifts, by the way, too, for folks that like figs. All right, so that's it. It was 4 quarts of figs, 2 quarts of sugar, and I only used about 2 cups of water. If you want a little bit lighter, you can add some more water. It'll be a little bit more runny. But that's about it, folks. It's not a whole lot to it. Hope y'all will enjoy the video. I hope you consider subscribing and hit that like button and help promote the video. I really appreciate you watching. Hope to see you again.